everybody. This is the Peaceful Revolutionary. I am back from a long due holiday. The second one this summer, really, so I'm not suffering too much. And it was awesome because as I was there, I was in near Quebec City, and it was a small island, and I was with a friend at a bed and breakfast over there for the duration, and we're kind of traveling around doing certain things. We um, we met a whole bunch of really interesting people. Uh, a lot of them from the States, kind of traveling and visiting. Some of them having some French ancestry, so kind of checking out the area. That's where a lot of the colonials arrived from France. It's on that specific island called Ile d'Orléans over there. And at breakfast, this is the B&B where I was, we had these really interesting discussions, which brings me to my subject because once again, I was very surprised at seeing people, quite savvy individuals from all over North America, kind of figuring it out. And these, of course, people that travel like this, these are people that are fairly well read, educated. They watch the news. They're well thought out, and at least that's what I discovered. And some of them were ex or current U.S. military people. I was there for 11 nights, so I saw quite a lot of people kind of going in for 1 day or 2 days at that particular location, and really sharp people. They all were basically telling me, essentially in their own way, just by talking in the morning about the state of the world and things like that. They were telling me what I've been telling you guys for a while, and I'm really happy to hear that people are kind of figuring it out for themselves. I don't know, maybe they watch my video. Like I don't think one of them asked asked for the channel information because they wanted to kind of follow. But it really really good. I mean, we were talking generally about the economy, which is a hot subject, right? People are worried about the economy. How is it what's gonna happen? How is it gonna right itself? What's gonna happen? And I was able to, of course, give my 2 cents about this stuff and kind of carry a conversation and awesome discussions about the subject of this video here. This is paradism. Not using that particular word. That's a word that was created by Maitreya Rael, the philosophy leader that I like to follow. One of my main mentors. Um, Essentially, what it is like it's a political, social, economical system that is based on paradise, or our vision of paradise, non-biblical vision, of course, where essentially nobody works, nobody's forced to do anything, nobody works like for money. Essentially, the money doesn't exist as a currency, uh, and um, and people can essentially enjoy themselves. It's a leisure-based society that we've heard also from a whole bunch of people. Futurists have been calling it like different words after singularity, where AI and robots can basically take care of everything that needs to be taken care of, including science, engineering, and some of the creative stuff as well. And human beings are free to explore their own humanity, creativity, because they don't need to do anything to support themselves or others' basic needs. That's all supported by machines, robots, AI. They can just follow their creativity. Um, now this was great discussions, and we talked about well, how corrupted the political systems are, and I mentioned it in many videos, and how that has to fall, that has to be destroyed, and by supplanting it with something different. Paradism is a great example of something different, and even as we were talking about the basic income concept that was started this year, or maybe it's going to be next year by Finland, where everybody gets a certain amount of money, and then if you work and do something for society, then you get like extra money. Essentially, it's a system that sounds a lot like communism. I would call it Marxism, really, because that's what Karl Marx was referring to when he wrote his book way back when. Um, where everybody gets what they need to do, a little bit like social system that allows everybody to be healthy and to be sane and free for real. Anyhow, usually when I talk about these subjects, with people that are less worldly than the people I met over there, including soldiers, mind you, like young soldiers, really bright guys, well educated. Uh, usually the responses I get is like, well, I don't know, what would I do with my time? It's going to be boring. Um, and that always makes me laugh because I never have enough time to do anything that I want to do. And most of the what I do for work, like quote unquote work, is something that I enjoy. I don't mind doing it. It's just I would some of it I have to do because otherwise I can't pay the bills, and that's what annoys me. It's not that I don't like what I do. It's like I'm forced to do it day in day out because if I stop, there's going to be problems. People are going to complain, and if I take a excuse me, guys. If I take a too big of a hiatus, then I can't pay the bills, and there's a whole bunch of other issues, and that's my beef. But a lot of people are not in the situation I am. At least 70% of the population in North America don't like what they do for a living, and they do it 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, or six. They do it for like 30, 35 years, sometimes changing jobs, but then they have to do relatively the same things they did with the previous job because that's your basis for employment for the future job. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. It's not a really good life. But where we're heading though, Paradism, no work, no money needed, is great, and nobody should be fearful of not having anything to do. Like what happens, if all your basic needs are taken care of, you can take care of your family. You can enjoy your kids. You can teach your kids instead of having the system teach them and never see them during the day. Right? That's great for family members. Uh, and if you don't have a family, no problem. You can do like what I do, like explore different projects, work on different things, be creative, be artistic. Explore the internet, play games, whatever you want. And yet people are still saying, well, now that sounds more like vacation. After a while on vacation, you want to go back to work. Well, you create your own work, quote unquote. If you're in a free society where things are taken care of by bots. There was a great article actually. This is part of what triggers um, I'm going to put the link below here. It's an article about the Martian habitat, the simulation of Martian habitat that was set up in where is that? The high seas habitat. It's 8,000 meters high in an abandoned quarry down the slopes of Hawaii's Mauna Loa, one of the islands, one of the Hawaiian islands, and it's barren. And they set it up there. It's a 1,200 square foot lodging for six scientists, and they wanted to see, well, what's going to happen if we go colonize Mars, which is also barren. What's going to happen to the people? Are their spirits going to be up? What are they going to be doing? And kind of evaluating the social impact of being on Mars for a long amount of time with very few people and a very tight spaces because you can't be out in Mars all the time. So I have to stay inside in a small space for a long period of time with the same people day in and day out. They could go out, but they have to go out in big suits, simulate that. And so they did the whole experiment. And what was really interesting, they interviewed these people when they came out, and kind of curious about the pros and cons of the adventure. And surprisingly, a little bit to me and to a lot of the people that studied this is that a lot of people didn't feel bored at all. Because imagine this. I mean, you don't have any kind of modern, convenient entertainment mediums. I mean, you don't have access to the internet. You don't have TV. You don't because you're on Mars. You're simulating Mars. You have nothing really that is technological that you consume as entertainment, like movies. It's like you do have some, but it repeats itself because you don't have a full year's worth, and so you kind of repeat the same thing. So what they did, they discovered hobbies while they were there, and they were quite, from their reports, they were quite happy exploring different things, doing, and each one of them were happy. Like a few of them they, trained to do marathons, for example. They decided what a neat challenge to still stay healthy, as well as setting a goal. They they did some science work, but basically it was to evaluate themselves and how they would handle. They didn't really have work to do there. They could do whatever they wanted, and they had very little access, and they had a blast from that perspective. And so for those of you who think that with full access to everything that's entertainment everywhere in the world, everything's free, and you can do anything you want, and you're gonna be bored. Well, go hide yourself in a cave and be bored alone, because I think a lot of people will discover that there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to life you can enjoy and learn and have fun with, because you don't have work to go back to. You don't have death to wait for if you're like super old and retired. You actually have a life to live, and you can choose whatever you're going to want to do. It could mean that you're providing a service to humanity in some way, shape, or form. A lot of people, including myself, feel the motivation to contribute, and I feel really a great joy to know and understand that my contributions have had some positive effect on people, which is part of the reasons why I do a lot of startup business consultation. I do a lot of freebies, pro bono work. I volunteer my time because I enjoy it. It's not because I have to do it. These are things that don't pay. So I would just be doing more of those things because I enjoy it. I love it. I love playing games. I keep doing that. A lot of people would just figure out different ways to have fun, and you just do it. So that concern is kind of out the window. You shouldn't really be worried about that at all. The other concern that I hear from other individuals as well. How about the economy? How do you trade your time for value? Because you don't want to do like give all your time to a certain cause and not drawing anything from it. Well, there's two answers to that. One, we will probably have some kind of trade medium, some way to track value that you put into a system or to someone, and then and give it back, so that others know the value of what different things, and that we already have. Like, we're using money that way. That was the original purpose of cash, of money, was to instead of using IOUs, was to kind of, well, let's measure how much is this value to you. Well, that's $10, whatever, right? That's a value to you. I'm going to trade that value against that same value of something else that you currently have, or maybe IOU later. You can give me something of value, maybe a trade of service or something like that. So we're probably going to have some kind of trade system, but we won't be playing the stock market or like have interest on different things. That's that's money. That does not work. Nobody has a salary. Essentially, you provide to society. You get some kind of, I don't know, a certain amount of units of value, like to your account, so to speak, that allows you to get perks that are beyond the basic stuff. It should be something like that. That's what Paradism talks about. So if you want to have the minimal house and just enjoy entertainment, all that stuff, without contributing to humanity in any shape or form, you can do it. You eat, you have your lodging. You can't do anything super fancy, but you can enjoy, just relax and enjoy other people's labors. But if you contribute to society, then you can get perks. Maybe you can have a bigger apartment, you can have a car, you can travel more than the average person to different places and because you're consuming value, so you need more value yourself. So you're trading, right? Um, but it's not an obligation. You can do it or not, right? So that's great. So you don't need to worry about the economy. You're just trading effort for different perks or other efforts from others. It's very similar to the open gee, the open trade systems we have online right now. People are coding uh, they're coding bits of software. They're offering it for free. People are downloading music and different things, pieces of art. People are consuming and uploading ideas, like Wikipedia is an example of this kind of sharing. YouTube is an example of this type of sharing. It's still going to exist. It's just going to expand, and you don't need to actually measure with dollars or units. All this stuff you can just contribute and get it back. And in some cases, you can probably trade for actual units or whatever the currency would be for trade. Don't worry too much about that. The third thing that comes up when I talk to normal people, not people I was at the bed and breakfast that are like well read, but just normal individuals that are kind of that don't know about this and are surprised by this subject of paradism, pseudo Marxism and all that stuff. Is that well, what about these AI, these robots? What happens if they go bad and Skynet happens, right? And we have Terminator situations and humanity is deemed a pollution and a problem, like bacteria needs to be eliminated. I, Robot comes to mind as another movie that talks about the subject. Well, let's go in order of things, okay? If we bring about paradism where everything's okay, everybody, gets what they need, um, you're going to have a very, 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 very low incidence of criminality. Why do criminals do what they do, even organized crime? It's not because they enjoy doing it, it's because they have to do it in some way. Either that's the life they were born in, that's the way they do business for organized crime, and they want to acquire things for power commercially and sometimes forcefully a little bit, and they do like illegal trade and things like that. That's part of their business because they can't do they find it easier to do it this way. But business in a moneyless economy where it's only about trade, I mean you don't really hurt anybody to do anything. There's no need. You just have to ask. If you want something, just ask for it. There's no concept of power. Everybody's contributing equally. Everybody's equal. There's no power system. There's no leaders that have power. There's no militaries that are needed either. Everybody is healthy. Everybody gets what they need around the world, and there's no power structure to attain to. There's no. You can gather as much tradable as you want, but you're going to trade against what? Uh, I mean, there's no competition, very little competition for how much money you have, how many traders you have. You can just use so much to trade against something. You don't really need to accumulate it. There's no need for doing it. Businesses can start without any significant funds. You just need to get people interested, and you just draw the energies of the people that want to contribute and want to work with you. So all these systems that kind of generate crime or intent of crime are generally gone. So that's the first thing. And so when you add AI that are really intelligent, looking at humanity the way it is under a paradigmatic system, humanity is all happy, hunky dory, no problem. It's not a parasite anymore. All of a sudden, I mean, there's a few individuals that are genetically inclined to be psychopaths or things like that. We can help them by healing them using technology and medical science. But the 99.99% of civilization is just at home doing great things, being happy and helping each other. That's what we'll be doing and entertaining ourselves. So why would the AI consider us as a problem? We're not a problem. Okay, uh, and also AI. I mean, they are programmed by us to both either serve us or also serve themselves because they a little bit like us. We are programmed using biological robotic pieces, if you like, and programming that is biological. We when we were if we're comfortable due to our programming, if we're comfortable. We don't try to dominate the world. Robots will be the same way. As long as we don't program them to dominate the world and to be jackasses, and we program them to go for pleasure and for fun and to enjoy their work because we want them to work. So if they pick up the garbage in the street, they can be programmed to really really enjoy that, and that's part of their programming. They don't feel oppressed because that's what they enjoy doing. Just like some people enjoy building houses. I don't like that. Some people enjoy doing that, where we can build robots that specialize in picking up garbage, things that generally people don't like to do, but you program them to do that. So they won't, if they're programmed to enjoy picking garbage, that's where they're going to be doing all day long. They won't be dominating the world. They won't be seeing humanity as a threat to themselves. Because why would you destroy or harm a robot? They're doing good work that enables us to do and to enjoy and entertain ourselves. So there's this whole dynamic of Skynet or iRobot that you see in sci-fi movies is based on a current state of humanity, which is crap. I'm not even talking about the general population because most of the people that have bad decision-making processes that are part of the general population are just in that shape because they follow the government and the religions that are that are trying to grab power for themselves around the world, and they just follow the propaganda. They believe in that all sorts of stuff. But in the general case, each individual on their own, they just want to have a happy life. That's all it is. If you eliminate the power systems and the religion, the political systems, you eliminate the need for economy. All these control systems, all this propaganda goes away. People just like believe, okay, well, I just want to enjoy myself, and I don't care what the other guy in I don't know, Syria is doing with his family. Like I'm enjoying mine here, and they're not bothering me. I'm not bothering them. Everybody's equal. Everybody's happy, and there's no robots that look at us if they have that programming. Look at us as far as like how do we solve their humanity problems. They're just gonna they don't see us as a parasite. We're just having fun, enjoying ourselves, and probably even partnering and having fun playing games with some of the AI. Well, they would be probably really cool. Think about Star Trek: The Next Generation with Data like being human-like, yet built by humans, not a real human, and he's really cool to hang out with, and people are enjoying him. So think of that in our future. He doesn't want to dominate. His brother Laura, though, if you know Star Trek, is programmed like has a defect in his emotions, and the defect causes him to be a little psychopath, and he's a problem because he's a psychopath. He needs to be fixed. But the original one, or the second one, which Data is actually the second one, if you follow it, he's fine. He's programmed to do good, no problem. Just like we are ultimately programmed to do good, because most of us are not psychopaths, right? So in essence, Paradism is awesome. If you hear about Marxism, research it. It's not scary. I know people are still, they hear communism. Communism is bad. Well, Marxism is not communism. Marxism is an idea very similar to what I describe as an ideal society where everybody gets what they need, and a leisure-based economy, leisure-based society. It's awesome. It's a great idea. And thanks to robotics and thanks to our efforts in robotics and programming and where we're heading in the next 10, 15 years, we can attain that society. And I'm super hopeful because more and more people get it if without me or others explaining it to them. They just figure it out for themselves. They look at the state of the world and it's like, look, I mean, we'll be fine if we do X, Y, Z, and our future is going to be beautiful. And that's a great starting point for just about any action as a peaceful revolutionary. Because we're not here to generate violence. We're here to educate and make sure that we put out actions that will enable this world to happen, this paradisiac, paradisic world to actually happen and come to be in some form or other, where everybody can be at peace and we don't have all the crap that's going on in the world anymore. Just a small bit, because utopia never exists, never perfect. There's always going to be some issues, like I mentioned, with psychopaths, some people that are unbalanced at a certain point in time. We need to deal with those situations by healing them and treating them. There's always going to be other cases we can't really see right now, but it's going to be awesome. So I'm putting down the link below about paradism.org. That you can get more information about Paradism, videos, books, and all that stuff. You can check that out. And I would strongly encourage you guys to explore what the world's going to be like because it's coming in about 10, 15 years. This is not a long time. The world is kind of a horrible place still today, but changes are coming. It's gonna when it actually converts and changes, it's gonna be really, really fast. It's best you educate yourself, get knowledgeable about it because you can accelerate that process into a much better time for us all. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. And if you want me to talk about something else, something specific, please let me know in the comment section, and I will research and do something about that subject because I feel it's going to be interesting for you all. So for now, have a good time and enjoy your week. Ciao, ciao.